You're listening to propsHR, an engaging startup. I'm your host, Cindy Windsor, along with my husband, Brad. We hope you'll follow our journey as a tech startup for employee recognition software with a social conscience. In addition to talking about our startup journey, we'll also talk about employee engagement and corporate charitable giving. If you'd like to learn more about our product, visit our website at propshr.com. Hello, I am your host, Cindy Windsor.
I'm Brad Windsor.
And welcome back to another episode of propsHR, an engaging startup. I think we last left off with right before our aha moment. And I guess it's more of a second aha moment.
Yeah, we were celebrating Thanksgiving. And I guess just the fresh environment and talking to some more of our advisors inspired an idea.
Yeah, well, I'd like to back up a little bit and say how you and I had been talking about how we could do more for the world in general.
Yeah.
I think social responsibility is important to both of us, and we wanted some way to build it into the app. So just because companies tend to have a lot of money, and what if we could encourage some type of charitable giving through our app, but we couldn't really figure out how to make that work.
Yeah, we talked about it several times. It always seemed contrived.
Yes.
What was one of the early ideas where the recipient has to log on and pick a nonprofit or something? I can't remember.
Yeah, I just anything we talked about was like, that just doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right. And, it could get awfully expensive if instead of, I don't know what type of charitable giving programs a lot of companies have. I wasn't really sure. I hadn't done any research around that. So it was just trying to think, how will this fit into our product?
Yeah, we just hadn't thought of a good way to make it fit yet.
The next thing I remember is I was talking with one of our friends, and you were in the other room doing something technical with Ross, and Lois and I were talking, and it just hit me. It was just like, what if our product had it so that an employee who's saying thanks to another employee, I'm going to pick some type of nonprofit within the app, and every time I say thanks to someone else in the app, then my company's going to pledge a micro donation to that nonprofit. And it seemed to make sense, just as it came out of my mouth.
Yeah, it didn't seem all that hidden either. It's like,
I know.
It was right there. It's like, wow, this is a great idea.
But I remember it took me forever to be able to tell you, because you had been busy with Ross, and then I was like, okay, I want to tell you something. I had an idea, and then you're like, okay, well, wait a minute, let me go get this.
Oh yeah, I kept putting you on.
Oh, wait a minute, let me do this.
No, hold that idea. Don't forget it.
Yeah, hold on. It took 10 minutes, and it felt like the longest 10 minutes. And finally, I told you, and what was your response?
It was kind of stunning, actually. It didn't take long to get my mind around it. It's exactly what we wanted the whole time. So, yeah, I was taken aback, and then I got kind of wigged out, because it seemed very unique. And at first, we're like, should we tell people about it? Which is very silly. Unless the idea is somehow amazingly amazing. Go ahead and tell people.
Yeah. Well, and fortunately, we were on our way to meet with a dear friend who was consulting with us on sales and marketing. Yes.
Yeah.
And we walked in, and that was one of the first things that we shared with her. She just was overwhelmed. She was just like, oh my gosh, this is a really amazing idea.
Yeah, on the subject of sharing ideas, every time we have an idea, we test it on everyone we see, everyone we talk to. We bounce
talk about it.
Get the response. You're listening for the negative feedback.
That's right.
Of course. Plenty of, hey, that's a good idea, when it's just too painful to say, well, this is bad. So we've been talking to people all along. At this point, this was the first person we shared this particular idea with, and she was floored.
Oh, yeah.
And then from that point on, actually, as we shared the idea, the responses were different. I could just feel a different tone. Some people aren't all that moved by charitable giving. Most are.
Well, what I find interesting is no one thinks it's just a bad idea. Okay, so that's the good thing. No one just is like, there's no way that's going to work. We looked at our competitors. It's not out there.
Oh, that was the other thing. Yes, the idea was, before we really got all excited and high-fived everybody, we had to make sure that there aren't 42 other people doing this.
And I would like to say, we had been struggling to find what is our differentiator between our product and our competitors. That's not technical. Okay, so technically we can say, okay, it's really awesome. It will blow your mind technically. But that doesn't sell the product. So we needed to come up with a differentiator, and it felt so strongly that this was it.
Yeah, and to back up, we had differentiators. We by far have the best user experience. It's gamified in the right ways.
Awesome text generator.
And the text generator. It's the easiest to use. It makes, I like to say, mysteriously appropriate suggested thank you notes.
Yes, it does.
It really does. So these are all differentiators, but they're all kind of little minor things. They're little increments, this and that. Better technology, which you can't say.
Exactly.
By the way, I think everyone knows B2B customers are not actually buying technology. They're buying an answer to their problems.
A solution.
A solution.
That's right.
Yeah, they're not actually buying your superior technology.
Right.
We learn that as technologists.
So as we researched our competitors, we found that no one's doing this. The only thing that was even close is some competitors would, when an employee gets X number of points, they can trade it in for gift cards, or they can trade it in for donations to some type of nonprofit.
Yeah, this is a classic reward system where where when someone's recognized, they receive points, which they can get stuff, we like to call them tchotchkes, out of a catalog, sometimes big tchotchkes. And one of those items might be a charitable organization. It might be a nonprofit. But that's it. That's just an optional way of unloading points.
Right.
Nobody put the giver in charge of the doling.
That
is the big
and so,
thing.
plug for our product here, but our product incentivizes employees to give, because then a microdonation's made to a nonprofit of their choosing, which, it speaks to my heart.
And it incentivizes the giver, which in a recognition system, success is usage of the system. What feeds a system is people giving props, and this does that exactly.
Exactly.
I probably went on too long about that.
Well,
it's really exciting.
Yeah.
And then we found out no one was doing it.
And then we were like, okay, we really do need to protect this idea. And we've been wanting to file some type of patent or
provisional patent.
Provisional patent. That's right.
Yeah, been down that road just a couple times. It's a treat. Well, I've seen it. This is my first time being right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we consulted on a patent a few years ago. Well, it's our patent. I actually have a patent on a previous product. Anyway, so we saw the process before, and we were going to patent the text generator. And by the way, we didn't patent it, so anyone listening to this we're going to get ripped off. Anyway. No worries. Text generation's been around for about as long as computers have.
Yeah, exactly. Wasn't that what they were originally used for?
Yeah, actually, it's easy to generate text. Very simple. Anyway, so we dove into the provisional patent process, which I was very rusty on. I thought I knew all about this, and wrote what I think is a pretty thoughtfully written provisional patent. It took 3 days.
Yeah,
right?
It was 3 pretty solid days.
We got filed.
Yes,
yeah. It cost all of $75.
Well, it took like half a day just to get it filed, but that's a whole different.
Yeah, we're going to have a whole episode on dealing with government websites. Because their competition really forces them to provide the most highest level of service.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Anyway, yeah. So we got the patent filed. That's all set.
And then you're able to make the changes in the app to include the charitable giving.
And the engineering phase. Now we have to engineer this monolithic change. So I actually coded this myself. I went in on a Monday, and I think it was done Thursday or Friday. This is one of those things where it was a small amount of code that implemented the whole thing.
And then I tested it. We did a quick round of testing, and then we were able to finally get it on the App Store, but we did just for beta testing.
Yes, yeah, we released only for beta. And if we'd gotten the beta out on time, we would have been betaing a different product.
Yeah, I guess it was not technically on the App Store. It was on...
Well, it was in iTunes Connect as a beta, as a beta app. But I was just going to talk about some slips here. We set up very ambitious dates in all of our, we say, hey, we're going to do this. We set real ambitious dates. We're going to have done 2-3 weeks. It's really hard to meet those. We initially planned, I think, in late October, Friends and Family Beta. Now we know, and this, of course, is very familiar territory to us as being engineer and product people. We go to beta. So what'd you do? How'd you...
Well, when I had been reaching out and doing market research, I'd asked these friends and families who I was speaking with if they would be interested in beta testing, and several had agreed to do it at that time, and I had that list already in place. And then I reached out on Facebook and just to get more people interested. I think we both understand how important feedback is for the product.
Yeah, and part of testing idea is having a lot of conversations. Cindy had a lot of conversations, and then these people also kind of you converted converted them into beta testers.
Yes, which big shout out to everyone who helped us beta test.
Yeah,
It was
thanks, guys.
An advisor had told us it would be pretty tough for beta testers to actually follow through with it, but we had a pretty good percentage of people who did.
Yeah, I think we were told to expect about a quarter of people who say they're going to do it to do it, and we were closer. We were, I think, over half. So hey,
I don't know. We may have been less than half.
less
over
than
half. Over a third.
We were almost over half.
Exactly, almost.
Yeah, but what if we made it faster? Anyway.
But it was really awesome seeing people use the app, and we understood this wasn't a real work environment because these people didn't work together.
Yeah, they had no actual reason to prop each other. A little bit every now and then, you and I would prop each other or whatever for a lovely dinner, or something. But yeah, it was testing.
It was fun to see
UX
how people
testing.
used it, though, and of course we had usage analytics built in, and
yeah, actually we'll have an episode on technical junk later, but we had the thing fully wired up with usage analytics to where you can almost see a script of the people using the app. Which is normal. This isn't a Big Brother thing. It's also anonymous. You just use it to see where people are getting stuck.
Well, and what I really loved is some people were just so helpful and really used it a ton. I think one person, what did she send, 60-something props?
Oh, that was so cool. And they're all real. They weren't just junk. She was actually typing this stuff.
And then a couple other people sent these really nice long emails, giving feedback. Their impression and feedback, the good, the bad, whatever, which we really appreciated. And then several people, of course, filled out a survey that I had on SurveyMonkey.
Yeah, and during the beta, we had 2 or 3 releases, and the really excited ones downloaded all of them as soon as they became available. Yeah. Real quick. It was kind of cool. The beta ran about a month. Took us pretty much out of 2016, a little bit.
Right into
17.
the beginning of 2017.
And then we realized we'd gotten enough beta usage. This is really a functional UX.
It works.
User experience test. It works. People can use it. We didn't really validate the idea fully yet. We just know that the software isn't. If there's a problem with it, it isn't going to be the software.
Right. So this is probably a good time to wrap this podcast up, and on the next one we can talk about where do we go from here, because we've done the easy part on our side.
Yeah, as far as what we know how to do, we're officially at the end of the road, and we're off into
and then we're into unknown territories.
Yeah, scary, very scary.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks, guys, and we'll keep it jazzy, okay?
Keep it classy. Thank you for listening to propsHR, an engaging startup. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll follow our podcast and check out our website at propshr.com. Do you have a question about our startup or employee engagement software? Email us at info@propshr.com or tweet a question to us at propsHR using #propsHRpodcast.